Well, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Powell, and I'll be your instructor for this course, Organization Theory. And I thought I'd just provide you with a really quick welcome video, just so you can put a name with the face, and just to kind of get to know who I am. And I look forward to getting to know all of you over the next few weeks. Let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I teach here at Cal Baptist as an adjunct faculty member. My full-time position is as department chair and MPA program director at California State University, Long Beach, where I have been since 2001. So I guess I'm now in my 18th year at Long Beach. Before arriving at Long Beach, I spent a year at Florida Gulf Coast University getting an MPA program and an undergraduate program started in political science. And before that, my first faculty position was for 4 years on the faculty at Eastern Illinois University, teaching undergraduate and graduate courses in both political science as well as public administration. My primary courses I tend to teach, number one is organization theory, and I'll tell you in a second why it's my favorite course to teach. But organization theory, research methods, foundations of public policy. I also do some public budgeting and finance as well, intergovernmental relations. So I kind of teach a lot of courses across the entire field of public administration and public policy. I've been doing so for quite a few years. In terms of my research, right now I have two different avenues of research. The first avenue looks at the assessment of student learning outcomes in graduate public affairs programs. And one of the reasons why I got interested in assessment in public affairs programs is through my work with NASPA, which is the accrediting body for graduate public affairs programs, especially at the master's level, MPA, MPP types of programs. Served a few years as an accreditation commissioner, and the past 8 years I've served as a site visit chair, traveling around to different programs and advising them and on their assessment systems and really their overall accreditation in terms of whether or not they're in accordance with NASPA standards. And in addition to that, all my work as department chair at Long Beach really got me interested in how we assess learning at the graduate level, especially in the area of the public sector and public affairs. So I kind of merged the administrative work I was doing for NASPA and at Cal State Long Beach together with my research agenda. And so I've been doing some work in that area, publishing some articles and some venues like Journal of Public Affairs Education, Journal of Online Learning and Teaching, and some others. But the second prong of my research now, and this is a more recent development over the past couple of years, is I've gotten very interested in the California Voting Rights Act and looking at the impact of the California Voting Rights Act on local governments, cities, counties, and local school districts and other types of special purpose governments, not just in terms of what it means for representation on those boards and those city councils, but also what it means from a fiscal perspective as well. And my most recent article came out a couple months ago in the Journal of California Politics and Policy. So I kind of have those two areas that I look at in terms of my research. When I am not teaching or working on research, I also serve as a elected official. So I am on the Saugus Union School District Board of Trustees. I've served in that position for the past 5 years, re-elected in 2016, and my term ends in 2020. So in that capacity, I get to apply a lot of these theories of organization behavior to what goes on in the district. And as a member of a 5-person board of trustees, we are responsible for the overall operations of the district. We have about $110, $120 million operating budget, 15 schools, and about 10,000 or so students. So it keeps me busy when I'm not actually in the classroom or working on research. So that's it for me for the most part. You'll learn more about me as we go through the course, but let me give you a really brief introduction to the course itself and just talk about what we're going to be looking at, what we're studying, and how we're going to do it. This is one of my favorite courses to teach because I am fascinated with organizations, and I'm very interested in why organizations are structured the way in which they are structured, as well as why they behave in the way in which they behave. One of the things that we'll see in this course as we go through the progression and development of the organization theory literature is we will see just how unpredictable organizations can be at times. There are some theories that we will look at that explore organizations as kind of rational living organisms, that just like with any other living organism, one of the primary goals of an organization is organizational survival. So you would think that everything that an organization does would rationally be related to organizational survival. What we will see, though, is that sometimes organizations do some things that are relatively irrational and don't make a whole lot of sense from a survival type of perspective. This course will introduce you to a large number of theories, theorists, and schools of thought. And our job in this course is to find threads that tie all these different schools and all these different theories together. So as we cover different theorists and different schools of thought, always keep an eye on, well, what ties them together? What are some of the similarities, the commonalities between some of these theories, as well as what differentiates them? How are they different from each other in terms of approaches, in terms of underlying assumptions, in terms of their purpose? And so you'll be exposed to a lot of different theories and schools of thought, but hopefully the way in which the course is designed, everything will hang together. And at the end of the course, you will have the skills that you need in order to properly analyze an organization. Now, one of your first tasks that you will have in this course is to select an organization to use as the focus of the assignments that you'll be preparing in the course. So one of the first things you'll do in week one is you will be selecting an organization, and then you'll be completing an organizational worksheet. And that organizational worksheet is intended to afford you the opportunity to identify the organization that you're interested in working with, and then providing me with the mission of the organization, some of the functions of the organization, and some of the basic details about who the organization is and why the organization does what it does. In addition to that, you'll also be doing a journal entry, and we'll have some journal entries along the way throughout the course. And the journal entry in week one will ask you to look at your norms and values and compare your norms and values with the norms and values of your organization. Now, one of the schools of thought that you get introduced to very early on in this course here in week one will be theories of organization culture. And I think organization culture is a fascinating school of thought because it presents to us the idea of every organization having its own unique culture. And when we think about culture, that's exactly what we think about, norms and values. So if you think about an American political culture, one would hope that the norms and values that underlie an American political culture are things such as democratic principles, openness, the ability to participate in self-governance. Those are the types of things we think about as what we value and the norms that we follow in American political culture. Well, just like societies have cultures, organizations have their own cultures as well. Some cultures are very democratic. Some organizations are very democratic, where they have a flatter hierarchy, where they have a lot of vertical and horizontal communication, where they allow self-governance and self-determination for employees through job enrichment strategies and training and development. Other organizations are much more classical, what we would call Weberian in nature. And those more classical Weberian organizations tend to be much more autocratic, much more top-down in terms of control, without a lot of communication, without a lot of self-governance and self-determination on the part of individual employees. So that's just an example of two completely different cultures that can exist in different organizations. Also important to realize, to complicate the issue a little bit more, is that you can have more than one culture at play in one given organization, and that you can have a culture that permeates certain units and departments and divisions, whereas other units, departments, and divisions have a diametrically opposed organizational culture. So I just think culture is a fascinating way to study organizations, and that's going to be one of the major areas of focus. And so essentially in your journal entry, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be talking about what your norms and values look like, And then is there an intersection between your norms and values and the norms and values in the culture of your organization? Is there a place in your organization for your norms and values while still trying to achieve organizational goals and still trying to adhere to the mission of the organization? So in this first week, it's kind of a get you going week where you can start thinking about the organization you're going to want to use for the assignments in the course. And then eventually where you will be at the end of the course is you'll have prepared a 6 to 8 page organizational analysis paper where you have taken the theories and the schools of thought that we cover in the course and you have applied them appropriately to your organization. One of the major themes that will run through the entire course is that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. There's no one panacea, no one way to structure our organization, no one way to manage our organization. That organizations differ. And so our decisions about how we structure our organizations and how we manage behavior in our organizations will be contextual. It will depend upon the organization we are dealing with. It will also depend upon the dynamics of the situation that we are dealing with at any given point in time. I always tell my classes at the very beginning, I have one favorite question and I have one favorite answer. My favorite question is, so what? So we learn about all these theories. So we learn about all these theorists. Well, so what? What does it mean for how we manage and how we run our organizations? If we are not able to apply these theories in a practical way in our real world organizations, then learning all these theories won't have as much utility as it otherwise would if we can make those connections. So it's all about application for me in a program like this and in a course like this. So we're going to be asking the question, so what? And as you read these theories, as you read the literature, I want you to ask that question, well, so what? Well, what does this mean then for my organization? Then my favorite answer is one that really drives people crazy sometimes. And my favorite answer is, it depends. So it depends upon the situation. Again, there's no panacea, there are no cure-alls. It will depend upon the situation we are dealing with. Certain theories, certain schools of thought will apply more appropriately in certain situations as compared to others. So there's always going to be that contextual focus and that contextual feel with everything we do throughout the course. Now, from a practical perspective, what I have done is I opened up the weeks as we come to them. And so week 1, all that information in the week 1 module is open and available for you. I do recommend you take a look at the syllabus and familiarize yourself with the information we're going to be covering and the types of assignments you're going to be doing throughout the course. As we approach each new week, the day before we get to that week, I'll go ahead and open up that module so you'll have access to all those resources. Now, in each module, you'll have a variety of different resources. So obviously, you will have the chapters that are assigned in our primary textbook, but then you'll also have some ancillary sources there as well. There could be some audio files that are provided for you. There's also will be PowerPoint slides that are narrated, not by me, but by the person who created the course, for the lead faculty in the course. So I think those will be helpful sources of information for you as you complete your assignments in each week. I always tell my courses in the welcome video that there are 3 different sources you should be learning from. One will be the instructional materials that are presented to you. Secondly, if I do my job right, hopefully you'll learn something from me. But the third and probably most important source that you will learn from will be from each other. And so that's why those discussion board assignments and the interactions we have in discussion board are so vital for learning in a course. So please take advantage of the discussion board assignments to express your take and your perceptions of the reading and of the material, and then interact with each other so that you can learn from other individuals as well. And hopefully all 3 of those sources will then contribute to your learning in the course. So that's about it. I think I've gone on long enough, but I just wanted to provide this really quick welcome video just to say welcome to the course. I look forward to working with everyone. As you progress through the syllabus, progress through the course, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I usually have a practice of putting together on a weekly basis a very short video, and I'll upload that each week to our modules to just kind of do a summation of the material we've covered for that week and a very brief preview of the material that we'll be covering in the upcoming week. So expect those videos. There won't be a whole lot to them. They'll just be very brief check-ins, if you will, that I'll provide for you on a weekly basis. So I think that's about it. I look forward to working with everyone, and I wish everyone a very happy and very blessed term. So I will talk to everyone soon.